A dash of mystery, a sparkle of magic, and all things cozy. Join your host, Elle Hartford, for Cozy Alchemy, a proud member of the Authors on the Air network. Hello and welcome to Cozy Alchemy, the podcast all about cozy and also thrilling books. I'm Elle, and my guest today is Joanna Vander Vlugt, and she is going to start us off with a game of two truths and a lie.
All right. My two truths. And I've had coffee. Okay. I love my morning mocha when I do my writing. And I love writing. Those are my two truths. Now, on the flip side, my lie is I love writing because sometimes getting that creative wheel going, it's a chore. And I find people sometimes think that as soon as you spit out a first draft, there's the novel. You're a writer,
Right.
an author. Wouldn't it be lovely if it was that easy?
Fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right. Now, we've had somebody else before bring up the I love writing and that duality, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
Well, sometimes like I said, sometimes you're at your keyboard and you're just you're just getting the words down. It's almost like you're not thinking. You're just trying to type fast enough to get the words down. Mm-hmm. And then other times you're writing notes on Post-its and stickies, and I now plot, and it doesn't make it even easier, right?
Oh, and that's, I think we'll circle back around to that because I am very curious about your process. But first, now, of course, Cozy Alchemy here, we do tend to talk a lot about cozy mystery, cozy fantasy, but you write and illustrate thrillers, which is very fun. I'm very much looking forward to your perspective, especially because the second book in your series, Dealer's Child, deals with the paranormal, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your series, about your book, just to get us started?
Okay, well, the first book I wrote about 20 odd years ago. And I was doing too much in my life. I was a personal trainer, I was a fitness instructor, I had a full-time job, I was a mom. And I think I may have just got tired of being rejected so much. And I just thought, I'm taking a break. And that break ended up being approximately 14 years. And so it was after my mom passed that I thought, I'm taking this manuscript, I'm reading it, and if I find something worthwhile in it, I will rewrite it. And the publishing world had changed. When I had started, it was taboo to self-publish, and now I think most of the time it's embraced. So my heroine, Jade, she's a prosecutor, and in the second book, which we're going to be talking about, she starts looking into her mother's past because her father is murdered. And she's starting to realize that her mom wasn't this perfect image that she saw of her. And her mother as a teenager had a life. Her mother as a teenager got into trouble. And her mom as a teenager lived a bit of a wild existence. And it was enjoyable for me to take my heroine, who's trying to investigate her father's murder, learning about her mother, and because I think with our children, they see us as mom and however they see mom.
Yeah.
And they don't
Yep.
realize mom had a life
Yeah.
prior to this. She had goals, right?
Fair, yeah.
So it's been neat to show Jade learning about her mother, and also show Jade as being, it's that discovery, Jade discovering her
Mm,
mother and realizing that, okay, she wasn't perfect and she got involved in some pretty shady dealings. So that's what Dealer's Child is about. And I don't want to give any spoilers away,
sure.
but just looking at the title, that there's a reason why it's called Dealer's Child. Yeah,
Got it. Got it.
yeah.
Nice. And it's a good setup. And like I said, yeah, so we have dealt with all different kinds of fantasy and magical elements in people's books, over the course of the show. But I had to start, so I had to start like first things first. Why? You have a ghost, right? And that's not too spoilery. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why?
So as I'm writing it, and I do have the book here, I'm
Yeah,
awful at
please.
showing
There
my
we go.
books, right?
Yeah.
I start talking, and after I'm like, you didn't even show the cover, right? So as I was plotting this, I I thought, I want Jade to discover her mother firsthand. Well, because of book one, her mom is already dead in book one. Okay. And I
Gotcha.
thought, okay, how is she going to find out about her mother's past when her mother's already dead? Do you want to do something where she's interviewing friends? I kind of found that a bit boring. And I thought, go to the source. Let's go to her coming across her mother's ghost. And okay, I'm putting myself out there. I never believed in ghosts until I had a situation happen to me. And
Oh.
it's not like woo woo, that sort of thing. It was just when you stop and I remember I was trying to replicate what I was doing to find the logic behind it. And everything I did, it didn't work, and it just made me stop and pause. Okay. And I thought, okay. So, and that's exactly what Jade is going through. She doesn't believe in ghosts, but things start to happen. And I didn't want it to be like Beetlejuice. I wanted it, like, again, it was her discovery that, okay, stuff's happening here. And her trying to understand that on top of solving her father's murder. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. So then how did like the mechanics of having a ghost in your world, how did that work? Like was she like moving things or was it more of a sense that Jade was getting or
The first scene happens at a graveyard where she goes to see her mother's grave. And as she's walking, she starts to feel her mother's presence next to her.
Oh, okay.
And her mother is just ticked off with,
Huh?
because, because her mother, oh, I loved writing about her mother. Her mother was a bit of a wild child. So, because her mother has done something wrong in heaven, she's now in redemption. So, she has to redeem herself. Okay. And
Okay.
so, it was working in the humor of Jade saying, you're still getting in trouble. Right? Like,
Yeah.
behave. So, it was working in the mother's sarcasm. And
Mm.
then, as Jade is investigating her father's death and things that happened in her mother's past, I'll, when you write those scenes and you know you will never forget them.
Yes.
And my heroine, she's a lawyer. She goes down, this is what we used to call it, the dead file room. So where all the closed files would go, because I worked in the prosecutor's office.
Hmm.
So she goes in the dead file room, and as she's looking around, in the center of the table in the dead file room, there's this old typewriter, because we used to have an old typewriter. And she's standing there and she's trying to figure, this crime out. And then I remember I sat back and I thought, okay, how is her mother going to communicate with her? And I thought, the typewriter. So the keys start ticking,
Oh,
you know,
fun.
and it was neat because Jade is with a law partner who is a recovering alcoholic, and he's standing there and he's saying, "Do you see this?" Right? Like, and she's like, "Yes, I see this. I see what's happening." Right? And he's like, "I've been clean for months." Right?
No, yeah.
So that's how I worked it in. And
Okay.
um, and then there was, when, like I said, my mom had passed, and that saying where people say if there was a photo going around, like on social media, of a bench, and it said, if you had the opportunity to sit on this bench and talk to someone from your past, who would it be? And so then I thought, man, and I just thought it would be my mom, right? It would
Mm.
be my mom who
Hmm.
I would want to talk to. So I have this scene where Jade is sitting on a picnic bench, and it's after some bad things have happened. And that is like a turning point where the mom really starts to admit, okay, this is what happened. This is what I did. I didn't want you to know because I didn't want you to be ashamed of me, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Talk about memorable scenes that you're writing. I've had a couple of those too. And I feel like it's very cathartic, right, for us as authors to be able to write and kind of speak to those voices in the past. But
Yeah.
um, it's also, it's such a lovely tribute.
Yeah.
It, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's very beautiful.
Thank
Um, yeah,
you.
but okay. Um, at the same time, though, okay, so you have a ghost who is fully aware, like knows what she did and what's going on. So was that challenging, like writing a thriller where one of the characters knows so much? Was that tough?
It was, and it was just making sure I wove in some of the details. I didn't want it to be her mom telling her everything that happened.
Right,
So I remember a lot of
right.
times thinking, okay, would her mom know this from
Ah,
in the mothers
yeah.
in the past? Would she know this, or would this be something Jade needs to find out from the future? Like being I'm
Mm,
sorry, in the present, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I just, like I said, I didn't want it to come across like Beetlejuice, so
Mm.
that character allowed me to bring in sarcasm, so that's how I approached the mom, was with some sarcasm.
I
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Which sounds honestly like it sounds like she also kind of is adding an element of fun then.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because it gets dark, and so
Mm.
I believe if you're going to write something in a thriller that is dark, you also need to bring in humor. You've got to have the balance. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Were there other challenges of having a ghost involved aside from just her, possibly knowing too much or what does she know?
It was making sure this one character didn't take over the story. That,
Ah.
and there were times when, it was like, okay, you got it. Like, writers and authors understand this. You got to kind of, I don't want to say keep a leash on this person, but don't let them take it over, right? Like, don't let it, this isn't their story. This is
Yeah, yeah,
Jade's story. So,
yeah.
and like I said, my mom had passed, but she was Hungarian, and she grew up, I'll say, believing in ghosts. Like she would tell us
Mm,
like different ghost stories, and yeah, so it didn't feel awkward, and that was the last thing I wanted, was it to be awkward, because
gotcha.
like sometimes I feel we have to try to stay within that genre, and so I
Mm,
knew I was taking a risk having a ghost in a thriller series, and I just thought, this is the story I'm writing. So yeah.
yeah. Well, and it sounds like it has so much meaning both for you and for the characters. So it sounds like it works
Yeah.
because of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. That is the sort of thing that we have to be really intentional about when we're, bringing in elements of other genres or blending things together. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and on that note, what was your favorite part of bringing in kind of the ghostly paranormal element?
It was that typewriter scene. That,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that was, there was that scene, the typewriter scene, and the other one that gave me chills. Let's just say there's another ghost that it gets involved, and it's the climatic scene where there's fire has started, and my my poor heroine is just getting beaten up. Okay. And I remember this character who was a ghost. Oh God, it's wild when you think I can still see it, right? This character kneels down, so he's seeing Jade's head, and like she's just been like had one too many punches. And I thought of when you see a wrestling match where is it the ref does the count, and the ref does the count, and he's hitting the floor. You can tell I don't watch wrestling. And I
Yeah.
thought, why not have this character like pound the floor and say, "Get up, fight," and
Oh.
those were his words. And so then she gets up, and he starts coaxing her on how to fight back, because she's not a fighter, and he's just like, "Get up." And there's a reason why he does that, right? It's a personal reason. And I know there's another scene where at the end, this character stands in the doorway of a home, and I say how like fire rips up the outsides of the door, like, for flames. I can't remember the exact words. And this character just looks back over his shoulder at Jade and then walks into this burning house. And I'm like, yes. You know?
That's fun. What a
Yeah.
fun feeling to have as an author. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, yeah. I love that. Now, shifting gears just a little bit, because you have touched on it already. But in general, your stories and your series is inspired by a day job in law enforcement, right, with the
Yeah.
prosecutor's office. Do you want to talk a little about that and how that inspiration worked its way in?
Well, like I said, I've been writing for a while. And
Hmm.
when I started, as you know, we're always told, write what you know.
True.
So I knew I'm Canadian. I knew about the Canadian legal system, the prosecutor
Mm.
system, Crown Counsel. It's based partly on British law, okay, UK law. And at that time, we as Canadian authors were being told, if you want to write or a novel, you need to situate it in the United States. And yeah, and I'm just like, but I don't know American law, and
Yeah.
I know I could research this, but I don't want to come across as a phony. I know from the back of my hand, how the prosecution system works, you know. And yeah, so it's weird because nothing you can write in fiction will be too out there in terms of cases I've seen through
Oh,
the prosecutor's office. Okay. Uh, like when I wrote After Dealer's Child, when I wrote Spy Girls, I had started based on research I had done with a situation that happened in my province. So I'm in British Columbia. We call it province in the US, you call them states, right?
right.
Um, so in my province, there was a criminal case involving a judge soliciting prostitutes in a very rough area in Vancouver. You could Google it. You can find the case law, like I did. You can find the legal proceedings, the reasons for judgment, all of that. Through our Canadian system. And I'm working on the audiobook of Spy Girls now. And as I'm listening to this, it just makes me cringe because I think, and I don't want to mention his name, but I think of the Epstein matter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just, I'll sit, like I said, I'm listening to the audio and doing a lot of editing, and I'm thinking, oh God, this is so close to the truth, right? Like just
Ah.
of taking wealthy individuals and how they abuse their power,
Mm,
and feel that they are entitled and can do anything they want, right?
yeah.
And yeah, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It's tough. It's tough. Well, and it's a great example, like you say, of the truth being stranger than fiction sometimes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh.
Like I know there's a case, I can't even mention it. Okay, I just can't mention it. It involves a refrigerator, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay.
My goodness. Okay.
So, yeah, like I'm sure
Oh
if you
no.
think something's far-fetched out there, I'm sure something in real life has happened. Yeah.
Oh.
To go down that route, but
No. Well, and I mean, but it's true. And the lovely thing, I think I'll ask for your opinion too. The lovely thing about writing books, be it cozy, be it thriller, most mysteries, you do get a resolution in the end, right? And you get justice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
bad guy gets caught.
Yeah. That's the part where it comes back up,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what's next for you? Are you going to keep writing this series? Do you have other ones in mind?
Well, I'm working on the audiobook, and
Mm-hmm.
because I'm seeing
Mm-hmm.
more authors are producing their own
Yeah.
audiobooks. And I used to have a podcast. Yeah, about a year ago, I shut it down. So I'm familiar with editing voice and looking for all the S's and like the
Uh,
popping sounds, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm working on that, and I'm doing I call it first draft porridge of um, another book. It's a different character. It takes place in the UK and the International Criminal Court.
Uh-huh.
So that's been fun. That's that. Oh, hold on. It's been fun. It's been stressful because, as you know, sometimes the creative wheel just doesn't want to start up. Right?
Fair, fair, especially when there's a lot else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally fair. Oh, and that reminds me, you had mentioned that and I wanted to circle back to it. Okay, so are you narrating your own audiobook? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
How's that
And
going?
well, the recording of it is kind of the easy part.
Mm,
It's the editing, and I guess I'm being really picky because I'm
mm,
just being picky. That's me.
that's
And
fair.
So let's say for 20 minutes of audio, which will take me to, which is about how long a chapter is, it'll take me about 2 hours to edit that 20 minutes,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
I gave myself realistic goals, and my goal is by, what are we? We're beginning of March. I have
Yeah.
40 chapters in Spy Girls, so I'm hoping,
Ooh.
and I'm on just working on chapter 7. So I'm hoping by July the audiobook will be ready. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. It definitely a labor of love,
Yeah.
right? And but I really appreciate that kind of peek behind the curtain because a lot of people do think like audiobook, it's just reading the book out loud. You don't realize how much editing goes into that.
And
Yeah. Mm.
do you find as a writer, you know, like it's not cheap to produce
Mm.
your own book, right? Like if you want to have some
True.
sort of a uh acceptance, it's it needs to be edited. It needs a
Mm.
professional cover,
Mm.
so I would love to have the funds to pay someone to do to create the audiobook, but I don't,
Mm.
so do I hold myself back, from producing a product? So I'm glad to see other authors are saying, no, I'm doing it. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's a labor of love, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, and it's one of those things where you're either investing money, or hiring people, or your time,
Yeah,
right? And taking the time to learn how to do it, to do the all the editing yourself. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I just want to make it clear that I can tell you all those voice narrators, they deserve every penny they charge. So that's okay. Knowing what I'm doing, they deserve every penny they charge. It's just I'm trying
Mm.
to do what I can within my little budget. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You always want to do your best by your books, right? That's what I find. I'm very motivated by trying to do right by my characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, and kind of on that note, what advice would you give to yourself if you could go back and talk to yourself when you were just starting out, or maybe, coming back to writing? What would you say?
I would say remember why you write.
Mm,
Um, all of us would love to say we are New York Times best-selling authors. Um, that if you can reach that, wonderful, but uh, trends are going to change, and just don't chase after a trend just because all of a sudden there's now a sports romance category. And when you first
right.
started, no one wanted to read a book about a race car
Yeah.
driver. Okay. So, or a hockey player, right? So
Yeah.
just stay true to yourself and why you want to write. And it needs to be to the point of not writing would make you miserable versus
Mm,
that's why you write, because if you don't, you're just not going to be a fun person to be around, right? And there are going to be tough days, but just
mm,
if you produce 100 words, fantastic, right? So yeah.
hmm I love that. And especially because you're having that, being able to remember what you're doing it for and having that motivation, that definitely helps, right? And because it's a long haul, as
Yeah,
you talk about your audiobook coming up months from now, like, we're in it for the long haul.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. All right, we will get to the last question in just a minute. But first, um, I will have, of course, like your bio and your website and everything in the show notes. But is there any way in particular that you would like readers to find you?
They could I used to sell my books on my website,
Hmm.
but the shipping, my gosh, you,
Yeah.
you sell your book for
Yeah.
$18, then add on maybe $20 for shipping. I mean,
Ugh.
who's
Yeah.
going to buy a book for $40? So
Yeah.
honestly, the best way would be if you're Canadian, Amazon.ca, or if you're
Mm.
American, Amazon.com. That is
Mm.
the easiest way. And yeah, just, yeah. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that leaves us with our final question, our kind of high note to top things off. What is one win that you've had in the past week? Could be anything.
Okay, this may not seem like a win, but, and I practice saying this because I didn't want to get teary. But
Oh.
the last Monday in February, so not this Monday, but the Monday before,
Hmm.
um, I've got a little 4-year-old mini schnauzer here. We lost our older mini schnauzer. So he
Oh.
was close to 14 years, and he was dealing with pancreatitis, which
Mm.
is brutal on dogs.
Mm.
So we
Mm.
lost him last Monday. And
Oh.
so my win is, and I wrote it down here, my other 4-year-old mini schnauzer and we've gotten through another week. Okay. We've
Oh.
gotten through
Yeah.
another week and we're gonna be okay. You know,
Yeah.
uh 2 hours ago when I wrote down this answer, I like tears. And
Oh.
that's him shaking his collar, right? But
Yeah.
I there's so much going on in the world. So
Mm.
I'm just like I like this question because I think it's just focusing on just taking it down, right? We made it through
Mm.
another week, Pepper and I, right? And
Oh,
we're
yeah.
just going to keep going for our morning walks and we'll be okay, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's all you can do, right?
yeah,
You just, yeah. And,
yeah,
you know, being gentle with yourself, right? And just understanding that, yeah, that is a win.
yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Aw.
yeah. So, and what makes it hard is that 14-year-old dog was so much a part of our routine in the morning, right? Like he would wait for me to
Aw.
make my coffee, right?
Aw.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so like I said, we're doing okay. And
Good.
just do you find like with everything going on in the world, sometimes it's like you got to take it right down to maybe just an hour? Oh, this hour I did this.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, and you can see a little bit behind me. I'm in a very colorful office. We just recently moved over the holidays. Podcast listeners will know this. We just moved, so it's been, several months now of setting up the house, and that's my version, is like this little immediate thing. Like, I put the vinyl tree branches up on the wall and I love it. And so you just focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted
Yeah.
to congratulate you. I saw on your website your awards for your
Oh
books.
gosh.
Yeah.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. But as you said, right? It it's tough because, as right, and I find you maybe find this too. Um as writers, so much of what we do is at home in our office, or maybe out at a coffee shop or whatever, but it's very internal. And of course, writing is very intrinsically motivated at all, right? We've got something in us to get out. Um, but balancing that intrinsic motivation with, you getting an award or getting some sort of external bump, it's can be a tough balancing act sometimes. It's nice to have both
Yeah.
when you can. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you so very much, Joanna, for being here.
Thank you. And I love the
Yeah,
headphones.
thank
Are those
you.
butterflies?
Yes, they are. Yeah, I figured I might as well have fun with it.
Definitely.
Very good. So I'm very, very glad you were here. And like I said, I'll have your link and everything in the show notes. So listeners, definitely check that out.
Okay.
And for listeners, I will talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Cozy Alchemy is brought to you by Authors on the Air, and our theme music is by Cyberwave Orchestra. For everything else, blame Elle. You can find her online at ellehartford.com.